as we have in the terms and conditions of the event. I hope it's all okay. Anything, let me know. I'll also start AI transcript so you can make questions with it, so we can have all of the recordings later. And I have prepared a pool for it to get started. We have about 10 people or so here already. Let me go and launch that pool. It would be for you to pick your favorite tool for vibe coding while we get started, okay? I'll start with the presentation just in a while as everyone join. Hello, Tony.
Hey,
Hello.
Matthias. How's it going?
How's it going? Please, everyone, be welcome. Okay. I've asked it in the subscription what tools you use, but now I'm asking that poll pick one favorite. And while you choose, we're going to get ready to get started. Okay.
I was learning about MCP today
Oh, nice.
at a SUI
Another
event.
context protocol. I was talking with one of our friends. Let's chat just after. So, hello everyone. I'm Matheus Pagani. I'm going to get started with the presentation for today's event, the first event in a series of those Vibe Tuesdays. And we're going to do like a half an hour or so introduction of the subject. I will explain a bit of the things that we are cooking. It's going to be recorded also for future events if people want to join. And then I'm going to give almost 1 hour of a vibe coded session with you. So if this is the first time that you are hearing about the term vibe coding, now the first 30 minutes is going to be like introductory to get you started, to know what we're speaking about, what is going on, right? But then in the next hour is going to be more deeper down. This should be interactive, so it's not like a YouTube tutorial. If you search for things on YouTube or on those tools, you're going to see a lot of outdated content. The things move so fast, right? So you cannot stop to ask questions and all. This is all time. I'm going to ask you all to use the chat. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can come here and raise your hand as needed, or you can type here in the chat. There is also a very good Q&A tab here for us to try out. So feel yourself at home. Today should be a very good vibe coding sessions. We should let the vibe flow. We are also going to be recording this. It's going to be available at our community. If you are seeing the recording later, please feel free to reach out to the comments in the chat so that we can get your questions in the future too, okay? And we are here to speak about the revolution of vibe coding. Similar to how we had vertical innovation with the internet, and it started like a meme, started like a small trend that the older people would be laughing out, and then eventually, oh yeah, everyone is using the internet for selling stuff right now. Yeah, you bet. Now we're going to speak about vibe coding without knowing how to code. This very controversial topic that seems like a crime for senior devs, and I know that there are a lot of people like pissed off about this innovation. Oh, I'm going to throw away all of the time invested in my diploma, in my years of career. That's not true. Okay, we're going to go over this and we're going to understand the state of things. So we're going to be covering vibe coding 101, the context of the context of the time that we're doing this. It's because in the first time of the history of my company, Venture Miner, we finally can mine ventures by giving you funds, by giving you support with the help of Artisan, which is a great community for builders where you can go there right now. Let me paste this link here in the chat. You can go there right now and give it a look. And you can subscribe your project here. You can, even you watching this recording later, this fund is going to be open for 20 something day, 30 days. You can subscribe your project here, and you don't need it to be super polished, technically polished. Actually, this is a fund targeted for vibe coders. If you don't know how to code, but you know the pain of your consumer, you know the pain of your end user, and you know how to speak with that person, this is your place. Okay, if you know how to code, of course you can apply to. But this is my call to action today. If you don't know how to do that, the next hour and a half is going to be exactly for this, getting you started. And at the end of today's session, you can, after watching this video, you can just come here and submit your project. This fund is going to grow up to 20K, $20,000 with the help of Artisan. So if you know people willing to sponsor, if you would like to sponsor this cause, you can drop the money here in this button, and it's going to go 100% towards to the fund. If you want to tip venture minded, there is a option for that, but it's optional. You can slide to zero and put the money directly for the fund for us to foster and seed the birth of all of those amazing projects that we have in this community. And at the end of today's lesson, I'm also going to speak about the Vibe Coder University, a membership that we're cooking. It's still in the making, but I would love to share with all of you so that when you start vibe coding, when you start your journey, you know where to go and you know what kind of things to avoid. Okay. By next sessions, this is going to be a series, okay, people? Every Tuesday, Vibe Tuesday is going to be here, maybe Tuesdays and Thursday also. In the next sessions, I'm going to speak about the dangers of vibe coding and how to avoid those, how not to get clapped when you submit your app out in the web, how not to get hacked, how not to get your database invaded. We even had some people that got famous with that. So today is more like getting the mood, getting started, and by the end of this month or by the beginning of next month, you might have all the content needed for you to master, be a pro of vibe coding, and even start your own startup, get funded, raise capital, make $1 billion. Okay, and then you buy me a pizza. We have a deal. That's good. Or some Indian food, right, Tony? I see your pretty face there. Good, good, good. So if you don't know what we're speaking about, vibe coding, what is vibe? Is a new programming language? Is this a programming language for programming smart contracts? Could be. Is this a programming language for you to build front end? No. Vibe coding comes from the idea of following the vibes, you're feeling. You don't have any technical flow for that. You don't have much of a structure. You just follow the flow and conduct a dialogue with the AI without so much structure. So there's a lot of people teaching techniques and alpha vibe code with this school that is going to increase your effectiveness and all. Yes, but the essence of it is that it should be like a creative movement, and it's very cool because I'm not an artist, but I'm picking a bit of that with those people from Artisan and how they feel. So it should be an expression of what you want to build in the world. So it's not much about the technicalities of it, and should be about the expression of it, which is the opposite of coding. Coding started like with those cards that we would poke. I wasn't born at that time, but I know the story of people that would be poking cards and put those cards in machine for them to do things. So it was born with a structure, and now we are speaking about getting rid of that structure and getting as close as possible to the end user of that system, of the consumer, and listening to their pains and quickly solving their pains. And how people have been doing that in like 2 years ago, and then last years, they would come from ChatGPT and they would ask something in natural language. For example, I want to code an app for food delivery. Whatever, I may ask for some suggestions later. So then the AI would chat with me here using ChatGPT from OpenAI, using some model here. Need to check which model is running here. And then I can ask for some code. Those models are able to produce code for me. Like, could you code that for me? And in future lessons, we're going to see what's happening under the hood. It's just next token prediction. Like when you are typing in your phone and it's suggesting the next words, there is no thinking, no reasoning involved. They call these models like reasoning models, but we're going to see all of that in the future. For now, imagine like this: you are chatting with a person. Now it's going to explain you how you should do that. Okay. So what you want me to code first? So let's pick this first option. Code a basic React front end for browsing restaurant and placing orders. So following the vibe, I have this suggestion here. The the code is being built for me, good. But then I have instructions. For example, the first instruction here, initialize a project. For me, it's automatic. I know those things. It's automatically comes to my mind that I should open my terminal and type those things, right? But imagine, I see most of you here are technical. You know, most of you, if you are non-technical, raise your hand. You are my target public here. For a non-technical person, at this point, step-by-step setup. Okay, one person. That's good. So you might not have a single idea of what to do here. Like initialize a project, npx create react. What's that? And then you see bash here. You might be intelligent enough, or you might be well informed enough to know that you should open your terminal console here. But at this point, up to here, up to this point, I could chat like I was chatting with a human. But starting here, the things started to get a little crazy. Oh, okay, I need some technical background now. Now it stopped being vibes and it started being coding, you see? Technical, DevOps, environment setup, you know. And from here onwards, a lot of things can happen. You might not have the necessary dependencies. This common npx, I know this common, it requires Node installed on your computer. A little software called Node, N-O-D-A. And it's not common for people to have this software installed. Okay, so how to properly progress here if I don't know how to code, if I'm just on the vibes, then it helps. Because of this pain, or because of this limitation of purely chatty applications like ChatGPT, a lot of tools, a lot of feature-oriented programs, tools, let's call them like this, were created, started to emerge for this single step. How do I turn this intent of creating an app to actually something usable if I'm not technical? Because I stopped here at this point. Okay. And I have some people with the hand raised. Is this for asking a question, or it was my last question? Joe, I see your hand raised there. I guess it was from the question I made before, right? If not, let me know. For example, a very, very, very visual tool, Make Real. It's not the most famous tool. It might be no one's option here. I don't even have this option in the polls. I see that you answer ChatGPT, Copilot, Replit, others. Okay, some good scope of answers here. This one is not very well known, but I see that it's very visual. At some point, you might have some ideas of what you want to do, and now you want to make it visual. You want it to show for someone. You want to draw. This is a very common prototyping phase. Have you never, like you are in a pizza with your friends and then you have a startup idea? Oh, I know how to make toasted bananas. I know. I'm going to do like this and that, and then I draw this box, and then I make this device. I'm going to put the banana there, and then it's going to be a heater. You know, it's going to pick the banana out when it's toasted. So you draw all of that and you create your next $1 billion startup. Because who wouldn't like a toasted banana by morning, right? Just crazy example. This kind of ideation process, this kind of writing things and making it visual is much more common than just a chat, just a linear long format chat as we have here in ChatGPT. So it's much more common for you to go like this. I'm going to have an app. Let me read a bit of what they said here, and the AI said in the chat here. I would have A front end with browse restaurants and menus, add to cart, checkout. Okay, so a question here about the folder structure. You can ignore that. It was just a suggestion for ChatGPT. Ignore that. So going back to the top of drawing, let's try and draw something like that. Browse restaurants and menu. That could be a chat that you have with someone else. You are chatting with some friends. It's very difficult to order good pizza here in New York. Like I have some friends here, or in SF, like Joe it is. And if I want a good pizza delivered hot, I want to make an app for that. So I'm going to have browse the restaurants and menu, add to cart. Okay, oops, wrong tab. So I'm going to write some things. It's going to be browse, right? And then I'm going to have a cart here. I can even draw some things like this. Browse would be a tab. I would have a cart. Let me see if I can draw a small cart here. So this is non-written language. It's just a visual language. It's a very big cart. It seems like a stroller. A checkout with payment now order status. So let me do like this in the bottom, and we're going to see where that goes. Okay, I have a question here. No, so let me put a text here for the order status, and then there is a checkout button. And this, people, it would give. Now I'm going to click this magic button, make real, which is going to use OpenAI under the hood too. And this is a visual representation of what I want to do with some text, some very small text. I could invest half an hour here, of course, for it to be beautiful. And at the end, I'm going to have uh, a working piece of code where I can click and interact without being a developer. There is no run this command on your terminal and use Node for that. This is a very small roadblock for someone that is technical, but for a non-technical person, that could be a bounce. I have like 50% chance of someone looking at this, saying it's too technical, I'm going to do something else with my life. Okay. We are 20 minutes deep in the video. You might be bored. You might be looking at your phone already. So all attention spans are very short nowadays. I need to keep making those not so funny jokes because of that. So when a person hits a normal person, a non-technical person hits a roadblock here, it's a very big risk that that person is going to give up and bounce and not look at that anymore. Here we don't have that roadblock. It's visual. I can interact. I can check order status. I can click on checkout. I can click on cart here. I can see browse a product list. And I could even keep prompting the AI to do more things for me. Okay, this is still very rudimentary. This is not a very good tool for us to code, but it's a middle point from just chatting with text for going here into an interactive environment. Okay, this would let the vibes flow. This is art. It's a canvas. You can paint your business to reality. You see this kind of feeling. It's even poetic. I like this kind of path for things. This is more like a chat, is structured, boring. ChatGPT is not letting the vibes flow here. Make real is letting the vibes flow. Okay. Yeah, the link. Yes. Sorry about that. Forgot to share. Those are just examples. So my question for you today, watching this video later, for all of you that are here with me, what do you see out there in the world that you want to solve, that someone would pay for it, or that you feel inspired by, that you want to do, you want to make real, but you don't have the technical capabilities of that for that. Maybe you don't have the resources or you don't have the knowledge. You might be at this point driven by some purpose, or some goal, professional goal or personal goal, right? Where you are not here for nothing, for just listening to my jokes. Of course not. You are probably endured for them, but you are here for some purpose, right? Now, now we have this open canvas. See how poetic it is. Tell me here in the chat, what did you want to make real? And my point is that if we do it well, you should submit this project. You should start building it today, this week, next week, and you should submit here in Artisan and really like make it real. And I can maybe even get you funded with little amount, but that can grow. And this might become the new phase of humankind. Every person in 2, 3, 4, 5 days could make real a solution for a pain or for a problem out there in society. How empowering this is, right? It's not marketing talk or anything like that. I really believe that we are about to get in this age. Okay. Let me see if you answer here in the chat. An agent that helps you plan the best place to go on vacation. That's a good one. Ideas that can be made into quick prototypes. Oh, Renee, I see you there. I see your hand raised. Sorry, I missed you in the chat, my friend.
No worries.
Please.
Enjoying this event and tremendously. Would you like me to introduce myself real quickly?
Please do. If I have seen you earlier. So the guy to blame for all of this that we're doing is Rene. He's going to introduce himself real quick. And don't know how much time you have, but I would love to hear your presentation, Rene.
Yeah, a couple minutes. I'd stay for the whole thing. I'm such a big believer in vibe coding, but I've got to go home and make dinner for my family. So I'm Rene. I'm the founder of Artisan. Artisan is a funding platform for art, science, technology, human creativity in the broadest sense. And I, again, am a huge believer in AI enabling everybody to make all of the stuff that's been bouncing around in your head forever. That's, the limiting factor has been either you learning how to become an engineer or convincing engineers to work with you or convincing people to give you money to go hire engineers. It was a tremendous lift to get any product up on its feet and out the door and in hands of users. But now you can spend a couple of days and hack together something that will get you to that magic moment where you can tell if your idea is actually working or not. And I'm really excited about this fund that we're launching on Artisan because it's paired with the mentorship that Matus gives you to make sure that it's not just a rough prototype that can get you to that idea of that inkling of whether or not your app or your product will work, but can get you that next stage of actually being able to scale it. Once you find something that does work, making sure that it doesn't shit the bed as soon as you start to get real growth and real users. So that's why I'm excited about this fund. I'm going to give you a quick spiel for how Artisan works. You'll go to the page for the Vibe Coding Fund. There's a button that's very obvious that says submit your project. Click on that. Stage one is you create a project profile for what your idea is. It's very simple. We ask you 4 questions. What are you making? How will it impact the world? Why are you the right person to make this? And how much progress have you made? So 4 questions, and then 1 image or GIF or short video, some media asset that represents your project. The key thing with that, we call it your cultural artifact. It's meant to be a little standalone artifact that represents the big idea behind your project. The key thing is don't have any text or graphic overlays. It should just be like a raw image or GIF or short video that gives people the aesthetic, the vibe of your project idea. Just don't put any text. and it should be a nice square. That's it. You just, 4 questions, quick media asset for your project. Once you've got your project profile created, the final step is actually submitting it to the Vibe Coding Fund. When you submit it, I think that the main requirement, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you asked for a link to like past projects that you've done. Is that right? I'm getting some head nodding.
Well, when you submit, the only eligibility criteria is that you have used some AI tool, generative AI tool for coding or in your project, and coming from our community or from our partners or for anyone that we know, and that we can put you in this fund. That's literally the only criteria, nothing else.
So once you finish that submission process, there's a curation process that happens. So everybody on this call can vote for each other's projects. The best ones will bubble up to the surface. I'm not sure how many projects you're going to curate, but it'll be some number between 3 and 10, I imagine. So after you get your project submitted to the fund, reach out to people in this amazing community and ask them to vote for your project. And hopefully we'll all get excited about the strongest projects, and those will get the most votes. It doesn't cost any money to vote. It's free, and it's a good way to get some signal from the noise about which projects people think have the most promise. As we stated in the beginning, the goal is to have at least $20,000 in this fund by the end of the season, which is how we curate and fund projects, is on a seasonal basis. There's about a month left to get your submission into the fund, but because there's that curation process, highly recommend you do it sooner than later, because you'll have more time to accrue those votes. So yeah, curation and submission will happen over the next month, and then the subsequent month will be where you guys compete for that actual funding by going out to potential users and fans and supporters and raising capital from them. And every dollar you raise from a fan for your project will be matched by $1 from the Vibe Coding Fund. One other point before I go is that we have a lot of other amazing funds that are live. And the key to being really successful on Artisan and raising a lot of money is to submit to as many funds as you might qualify for and to get curated for those, because every time you raise $1 from a supporter for your project, you'll get $1 from the Vibe Coding Fund, you'll get $1 for the Creators Fund, you'll get $1 for the Female Coder Fund. Like whichever funds you might qualify for, you get money from each of those based on money that you're raising from your own fans. So that's the high level takeaway. I'm going to be attending more of these meetings. I want to do some vibe coding projects of my own. I've got a long list of URLs that I've been collecting over the years, and I finally can do something with them. Yeah, I'm going to be following along with you. This is one of my favorite funds. I'm going to be very involved supporting it. If anybody needs anything related to Artisan, I'm putting my email address into the chat here. So just hit me up and let me know how I can help.
Wonderful. That's great. That's great.
All right. I got to go make dinner or else I'd stick around. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, what's the page to apply? Well,
let me drop that in the chat. Yeah.
I think I can get it faster than you. Let's see.
I doubt.
You got it just by a second. All right. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a good dinner.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah, people. Dinner is important. Thanks a lot for all of you listening to this presentation from René, the founder of Artisan. They are building an amazing community here. They raised like $2.2 million just for that. They are about in the 6th season coming soon. They deploy like $2.5 million already in grants for artists and all. And we are building code with art. It is kind of the feeling of this fund. And at this point, you might be thinking, okay, I want that, but I'm not confident enough. I don't know how to code something. I don't know how to use those tools. I don't know how to launch a startup. I'm afraid of getting hacked and all. So if those are any questions that you are having, let me resume sharing my screen again. If you are facing any of these issues or asking any of those questions, I got you covered. I might not having millions of dollars to deploy. I think it's helping us with 10K up to matched funds per fund, up to 20K in my fund. You can apply for all the funds, so we can get a little seed money for getting you out of the ground. But on the top, we can get you community guidance, mentorship, perks like free premium plans, and some of those tools. We can guide you with connection to venture capitalists, grantees, and all of that. So we might be adding benefits that at the end might compose up to $1 million, maybe 100,000. Let's put it like that. Okay. So I'm here to enable you to. Let me share my screen again. Try to. Good, finally. Well, sorry for those 5 minutes that we lost there. I lost the chat history too. So if you ask a question while I was away, I'm sorry about that. May ask again. Okay. And the challenge is up. Whomever get to $1 billion first, a unicorn, gets a prize. To know $1. Let's do something like that. Personal invite. Okay, so now let's get some serious vibe coding. So for the next 1 hour or so, I'm going to do a more like deep dive. Let's actually recall where we were before this technical problem happened. Rene was explaining about Artisan, all of the cool things that they build. If you go here for the home of Artisan, you're going to get a glance of their size, all of the funds that you can apply for. And I don't know if I mentioned that clearly. You don't need to apply just to one fund. Okay, you can scroll for all of the funds in the season 5. See all that you would, all of the possible themes that you would fit, creators for music, for art, or for indigenous people, women in tech. There's a lot of different funds for different themes, and you can apply your project owns to Artisan and submit your project for a lot of different funds and get funded from a lot of different directions. Okay, so it's really cool how they are building this community, because it's not like one-to-one as you usually go asking for funding or for sponsorship company by company. Here, it's like a lot of funnels that can drag attention and sponsorship for your project. Okay, so it might not be a big amount for a single source, but the more you combine, the better. All of the votes are community-based. So I really like the idea. Is really for pro builders. And yes, they have awarded more than $2.5 million, which is kind of cool. I can live by these kind of numbers, right? Imagine if they do 10x. Okay, so you can submit your project. You can become a sponsor if you're watching this video later, or if you become a $1 billion company, $10 billion companies out of vibe coding. Consider coming here to sponsor the fund, sponsor Artisan. It's going to be well. This money is going to be put. It's going to be well put for driving good projects, good community, a good impact, right? So as I was explaining, if you want to build a project but you don't feel ready for that, if you don't feel that you know the skills, if you don't have a co-founder, if you don't have a community, if you don't have a direction, if you don't have a motivation, or if you are hungry, you can go have dinner. That's it. I'm just kidding. If you don't have the actual paths to follow, this is the main reason that we are here. We are doing this education. We are doing this community. Might evolve even for a membership to help you. So you're starting on that extent. I'm going to introduce the usual modern flow of vibe coding, of creating applications, creating usable applications just by prompting, just by letting your vibes flow without much of a technical expertise. Okay, so I'm going to stop using ChatGPT. No, OpenAI, you can't do it right now. I'm going to stop using Make Real. No, that's very limited. And even if those platforms, they suggest features like artifacts or things that you can build inside those platforms. I'm going to flee from all of that, okay? I'm going to use one example, visual example, modern example, that is Visio. They're just implementing that inside VS Code. So it is very modern. I don't think that is the best platform out there, go-to, top of mind, but it's great for starting, for an explanation, okay? So I lost your chat history. I lost the suggestions that we had in the chat. If you want to give me a theme or a request of application that you want to make real, and what you want to change in the world, what is your impact, a clicker game. We got inspired by this project, Tap Ants. They got like 8K votes, almost 8,000 votes. They are a clicker game, which is very cool. You tap ants and then you earn rewards. That is a cool one. Let's try that. A clicker game build. Let me increase the zoom a little. Here in the left, I would have all of the projects that I started in the chat, different attempts that I did. You don't need to worry with that. Remember, let the flow happen without structure. So basically, everything that you need is a free account. So you can go for v0.dev, create a free account on this. Let me pin some messages because the chat is getting a little messed up. Let me pin some messages. Okay, so let me pin this. Let me pin the fund. And Fiona, you asked about the Telegram, right? Let me also invite you all for my Telegram group so that you can ask any questions, any suggestions or memes, whatever you want to share. Okay, repeat that too. So for now, first and only step that you need, go for v0.dev, create a free account, and then start whatever you want to build here. Okay. And Fiona, I remember you from like your effort in New York, putting your dedication to build your front end, your working version of the website, and this is exactly the kind of vibes that I want to do today. Okay, so let's just spit out what we want to build here. Let's start again. A clicker game. Clicker game. For pinball machine, trying to compose the suggestions that we had here. The digital age, yes, I agree. That's a very one. And a new social media for human feedback on projects. Let's see if I can. Social media with clicker game, an embedded clicker. I don't know how to do that. I'm trying to compose the suggestions here. Fiona, yes, I'm going to organize my Telegram later. I'm Vibe Telegram, so please feel free to just join there. Okay, so I got a suggestion for a clicker game, a social media, and a pinball. Let's try and compose those three. It's a very crazy idea. Social media with a clicker game for a pinball machine. I don't know what AI is going to suggest for this, but this is just going to try and spit out something. And different from ChatGPT chat, and different from make real image with a little snippet of code, V0 is going to guide us to creating a whole project. And we're going to see that in more depth in next episodes. The structure of the project, the architecture of the project is a super decisive factor. It's super influential on how good is going to be the final application. It's not even the implementation, the kind of of algorithms that you put inside there. No, it's actually the architecture. And it's the same thing if you think on like building houses or building like infrastructure, real estate, or like physical things that you build with hard materials, right? You can do the best marvel of engineering. You can be the best construction work in the world. If the architecture is bad, if the blueprint is not well made, the project's not going to stand. The project's going to be bad. It's going to be difficult to build that. It's going to be it's not going to be optimized. It's going to be ugly. You see, the architecture is the artistic part of it. Is the purpose of things. I don't know if you had the experience of speaking with an architect when you're building a house or something like that. They ask very contextual questions first, like, you have kids. What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? You like to read? You like to exercise? What do you like to do? So all of those contextual questions are going to give the architectural drawing, which is much more important than the actual implementation of the thing that you want to do, right? It captures the essence of what you want to do. And then the engineering is just the downstream path. And this is kind of weird because I'm an engineer by trade. I graduated in mechanical engineering. I love the engineering part of things. But I know that the architecture definition is way more influential for the success of the project than the implementation itself. And this is what V0 is solving. Every tool that I'm going to suggest from now on, and all the techniques are going to be based on that, on creating good structures, good architecture, template projects, managing context, using good integrations. All of that we're going to see over the weeks, maybe months of content that we're going to have here are going to be oriented for creating the good architecture for the AI not to hallucinate. I'm going to explain about AI hallucinations later to you now. But most of the problems that people have when vibe coding is because they try to get something implemented, a page, a checkout page, or something like that, before defining structure first. This is what ChatGPT was trying to do. This is what V0 did. It just spit out some HTML or JavaScript, No, that's not good. We need a structure. Maybe we need a framework there. Maybe we need a database connection. Maybe we need a backend. So this structure, this architecture, it's crucial for your project to work well. Okay. So what happened here in those 5 minutes, as I was explaining? V0 AI was trained for that, generated a structure for me, a folder, a structure with a framework called Next.js here, configured everything properly, generated all of those files, integrated them. And here's the explanation. So it's an interactive pinball machine that responds to clicks. Okay, that sounds cool with some social features. I honestly didn't have much expectation for that, but it sounds cool. So I have here a pinball social, nice name, and I'm going to click to play. As I click, I guess this ball is wiggling a little. Don't know if that's very well implemented. I don't know what's going there. And then I have a social feature, a social feed here. Oh, nice. This is actually a social media around the play ball clicker. That's amazing. Thank you all for providing me with the entropy for generating this masterpiece. So there are some upgrades. That's nice. This is way different from all the flows, direct chat flows. Here we have an application generator. Okay. And let me go that for full screen. This is a usable, it was one shot, the first question that I did, a usable state of an application that I can interact with it. I see all the pages there. Arcade King, how did Arcade King come here? Hey, RJ, BJ, are you hacking my computer? I don't know what happens. We have a project called Arcade King in our community. So I can tell something here. Hey, I just won the biggest prize. Okay, and then post. Okay, do you see how it's kind of working? I don't have a database yet. I don't have a full integration yet, but it's kind of visual. It's kind of working, right? Hello, RJ, I see you there. Hello for everyone. Nice to have you here, my friend.
Good to see you, man.
Nice, nice. Have some background noise there. So, someone asked here in the chat, why use it V0, Sergio? Is it better than the orders? No, it's just a good visualization for this. What I'm trying to say is that having the structure is the most important part. Okay, and there are many other tools. After I finish this pre-explanation, I'm going to show a proper process of vibe coding with Cursor that is a little more technical. But here I'm explaining. It's kind of a summary, a TLDR version of the whole program. Having structure is the killer effect for vibe coding, building things with AI. And V0 is one of those tools that you can just build a structure. I'm not faking it. We saw it beyond our eyes. This is not a pre-generated example. I just composed with the things that we had here in the chat, and it's usable. I can write something here, hello world, and then I click on post. It appears in that list of posts, okay? And then I can like it. It records this like. So it has some of this structure baked in. It doesn't have a backend yet. I'm good to get there. But I have this structure. And it still has this chat flow, so you don't need to be technical. You can still chat with it, ask a follow-up question, ask it to edit. For example, change the colors to be something more premium and some more premium and daring, like a casino. Whatever, just thinking on follow-up questions. And you don't need any expertise. It's not like change the component of styling, blah, 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 to this and this and that. I don't need to know what is under the hood, what is the technical detail for that. V0 is programmed to do this chain of thought and know what it should change and all. It's like a outsourced dev, something like that. But you as a user, you don't need that. You just need the vibes. If your vibes are good, you can translate the vibes into requests. There is a whole theme called prompt engineering, which can help a lot. RJ is a master on that. I was there in one of his talks and enlightened me a lot of this. I'm going to speak him. I'm going to invite him to speak here later in future lessons here. So I'm going to avoid the subject of prompt engineering for the first session, because I want to make it simple. You just ask as you would ask an employee or a friend. You don't need to worry with any format or technique for now. You just ask normally, ask freely normally, and that should work. Okay. You would wait while compiling. Now we wait around Vibe. Yes. There is a lot of waiting. We're going to have a lot of waiting slots. Maybe we just banter in the meantime. I'm going to see how it goes. Okay. Yeah, this question, Marina. I see a question in the chat. I'm going to speak about this structure. Okay. My top take for today, if you're going to remember just one thing for today, is that having structure in the things that you're generated is the most impactful effect that you can have while prompt engineering, okay, while vibe coding, okay? Yoda, yes, V0 is good for the front end. You tested that, right? So I'm going to show that happening today. What is the problem?
You can try and add integrations too. That is a new version for that, a new feature, but it is still not there. That's true. Right? And here, it finished it. I asked it to change the colors to something more premium and daring, like a casino, and then it made those key changes. Basically changes the colors. Okay, not that bad. I kind of like it now. Let me see. And the game still doesn't work. Click the pinball machine to score points. But the pinball is not working. Okay, that's crazy. I maybe can ask this, like, fix the game. The ball is not bouncing. And then it's going to take about 5 minutes to do that. I don't know if it's worth waiting. Okay. So we don't have a backend. That is true. A great point there, great question made by Fiona. And this is the most pressing issue for us to solve. We need to have a usable product, right? And more than that, a safe product, because we want to charge payments. We want to have a business model. We want to have people's data there. So it cannot be something like it's a toy project that is only useful for showcase. I want to solve real pains for that, right? I have bills to pay. If you keep playing here with V0, you got to pay them. If you host that somewhere, you got to pay for that. If you are going to do marketing, if you're going to do sales, if you're going to sponsor a fund with artisan, you got to have funds, right? So for that, you need to have revenue. So you do need to take care of building something that works. It's not like a showcase. This is not a fancy PowerPoint. It should be a workable project, a functional project. And for you to get that last mile, this is the most tricky part. This is where 99% of people fail. And then I could start the whole talk from here. I've been discussing, arguing this with all the vibe coders, with influencers and all, that they push tools like this, V0, Replit, Lovable, and blah, 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 that you can just prompt and have your application ready. Almost there. It's almost there. Oh, God, I want to be there, but we are not there yet. We might be very soon. But while we are not there, it's frustrating. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, we didn't have that expectation. Now we have, so it's way more frustrating than 3, 4, 5 years ago. Now it's almost there, but it's not there yet. We ask an AI to make this game, and it's not working. We ask it to integrate it, messes up everything. We ask it to fix it, messes up even more. For now, AI is not taking any jobs. It's creating much more jobs than it's taking, right? I know that in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, we might not have software developers anymore. That's a very possible outcome. Or we have only 10% of what we have nowadays. Or maybe we have more to fix the problems that AI are creating. I don't have a precise prediction, but it's possible that AI is going to replace jobs, more grinding jobs maybe. But for now, it's not possible to single shot prompt an AI. And I'm going to prove that. If you prompt an AI for an application, 99% of the time or more, you're not going to have a usable product. Okay. If you try Bolt, if you try Replit, if you try Windsurf, Manus, and all, you can have some things working like a blog or a simple checkout flow. But when you try to build something deeper with business logics, a little more complex business logics that you need to implement, they fail. Okay. You waste hours, days, weeks on that if you don't have a proper structure. Okay, so at some point you do need to code things, manually, explicitly code things, or ask someone to do that. But for now, again, let's focus. We have a job to do. Here we have a final version of this application. Okay, maybe I can click here. Yeah, it's still not working. See, I ask it to fix, and it's not working. That's super common. They have a button to deploy. This is where I'm going to get to your point, Fiona. I'm clicking that button to deploy. and it's going to use my Vercel account to deploy this whole app to be usable for everyone. But we're going to see that when you use that app over there, and when I use the app here, they don't communicate. They live in different realms. And if you're not a developer, a coder, if you don't know about databases or backend architectures, you might not understand why. Because we come here at this demo and we click here on social feed and we submit a message, it works. But when someone else is interacting with that, it doesn't work. Here is the major limitation for those vibe-coded applications for now. Let me wait for it. It is deploying. It is still going. We're going to have a URL later. So let me visit this website. Let me paste it here in the chat if you want to try it out. Okay. So if you come here in social feed and if you type something like hello, it is going to appear there for you, but it's not going to appear for me. There is no database, shared database. This website is hosted out there. It is published in the mode you might be able to access, but we don't have the structure behind, the thing that we call backend. Okay, and this is where it can get confusing for non-coders. Okay, you just want to vibe out there. You don't want to deal with the backend, with the front end, with the connection, with the database, with DevOps, with hosting, with cloud builds, with scaling, with load balancers, with security, with encryption, authentication, payment processing, workers, webhooks, and all of that. I did a collection of names of things that you need to care about when doing those applications that you might not expect. They are not obvious. Okay? You just want to vibe. That's it, Tony. You just want to vibe. You just want to get things out there and build them. Okay. And at this point, exactly 1 hour of vibe coding precisely, we have a very important realization. It is still not possible just to vibe out without technical knowledge. If you do that, if you deploy that, if you pick Bolt, Windsurf, Lovable, Replit, whatever tool that they claim that they can do that, but if you do that there and release your app as it is, you might get in trouble. You might have some problems. You might get hacked. You might get exploited. You might get abused. I like to use this example. I'm not trying to put fear on you or anything like that. It's just that these kind of things are happening. Okay, and if you're not aware, it might happen to you. This guy's called Leo. He's not to blame. He did his best of intentions of vibe coding, you know. He got a SaaS and started making money with that. And he started tweeting about it. Excited, like, hey, people, I built this software and I don't know how to code, but I built it with Replit, with whatever, and using Cursor, and like I'm going to do in a while, but it's not a problem of the tool itself. The internet is a wild place. You can't trust that the other person is going to see your private keys, your bank account, and all, and leave it untapped. Okay? Are you able to pick your wallet and leave it in the table, in the restaurant table, just like this, and leave it there for hours without anyone trying to rob your money? In some places it's safer. In others, no. In Brazil, if you do that, before you take a wallet out, someone took it already. Just kidding. Just in some places like in most of Brazil. But let's change subject. When you put your website out there, people might be watching. People might be looking at your structure, at your backend and all. And if you don't use some certain techniques, some certain you don't take care of something protections, the security, indications, and all, you might have these kind of problems. And at the first, he was thinking that he was attacked because he was posting on socials, because people were throwing shade on him because he doesn't know how to code, but was making money, But it seemed that he was fixing things. He had to fix things, and he couldn't sleep, had to fix it, and it took a while for him to do that. Eventually, he solved that problem, and there is a lot of care and attention for that right now. It is still not possible to go there with one prompt and get everything correctly deployed safely. And 100% of the case, you might do it by look 1 or 2 times, but in most cases, you need to follow some sort of a structure. Okay, and this is where things get boring. You might start complaining now. Hey, I was promised a green land where I just need to let my vibe flows, and that goes right. Yeah, but that happens in every kind of art, right? When you start painting, you need to know color theory. You need to know geometry. You need to know geography. No, sorry. You need to know geometry, lines, projections, and all. When you start photography, all of that too. Or when you start music, oh my God, listening like music theory. My guitar here. It takes you months until you get the proper structure of things. Maybe vibe coding is like that. We might need to learn this structure from scratch, these techniques, and all. Maybe these AI tools are going to evolve if they somehow learn how to indeed reason and all. We might solve this and many other problems of humankind at the same time. But for now, I guess we still need to go for some technique, for some grinding to get some techniques, so to get some knowledge on how to do that. Okay, so the next half an hour or so is going to be exactly that. I'm going to show a tool, IDE, VS Code based tool called Cursor. That is a developer tool. It's going to require you knowledge on how to do things on your machine, how to set up and install things, yes. So very different from the promise that we had in the first minutes, I know, yes, but this is an important realization. Okay, this is important grounding of the expectations that we have in the real life as we have, okay? And there's a lot of content out there. You might be lost on the amount of announcements, the amount of posts, of content. Since I'm doing Twitter, right? I might show some posts like this, or good lists, is like 20 minutes on what you should do for keeping your project safe, a 25 minutes video there. So there is a lot of scattered content that I'm going to aggregate. So for example, this guy, Matt Palmer, are you a vibe coded app secure from Replit? So trying to say about that. You have a post from that from Lovable. You have a lot of different information out there. I'm going to try and bring the curated amount that we need for today, just for getting started, just for you to be able to safely submit your project here. And by the next sessions, I'll be explaining more. I'm going to even try to invite these people, invite people from Lovable, from Replit, if I can, people from our community. We have great partners, RJ from ETC. We have people from Build City. We have Eli from the Glow community. We have many other community members to come here in future so that we can get you in a good track, okay? But yes, it's going to require some grinding. It's going to require some effort and knowledge until you get there, okay? Good. Let me try and get a scope of this chat. It's growing big, but let me try and get the most pressing questions. If you have a pressing question, raise your hand. Now I'm going to know, like, you have a blocker or some suggestion. Okay. Yes, Manuel, let me know. What do you have?
Hey, Mateo, it's nice to see you, friend.
Nice to see you, my friend. Let's go.
Hey, so as you know, I've been vibe coding for a few months. And the trouble I have, and I haven't found a tool for it yet, is to move into deployment. And I tried picking up Cursor projects to Vercel. I tried Firebase Studio. I've tried integrating into a bunch of different AI coding solutions, but I'm just running around in circles. I don't know if there's any tip when you already have the architecture set up, you already have a running app in development mode that works perfectly, but when you try to put it on a server or serverlessly API or any of those techniques to actually get it running for people to use it outside of your development environment. So not sure if there's anything on that.
That's a great question, man. We spoke about two phases, right? Architecture and then the engineering for development, right? But what if I told you that there are actually three phases? And this is what we're bringing up, which is very important. That is the implementation part. Sometimes you architect something very beautiful, then you develop it beautifully on your machine. It works like a charm in your local host, but then how to ship it to the world, how to implement. And you know that like putting our app out there for one person to use, 10 concurrent users, 100 people using your app at the same time, up to this point can be okay. But beyond that, it's super difficult. It's another whole field of development called DevOps, development operation, and even DevSecOps that would bring the security for that. And sometimes you need to change the code of your app for handling concurrency calls, race conditions, a lot of different things that are pertaining to your implementation, load balancing, and all of that, which doesn't apply in the development phase, you know. And sometimes you even need to consider that there in the architecture. The thing is that this is the step 3, it's even more advanced. Step 2 is okay, step 1 is fine. So it's difficult to reach this third level where we didn't even master the second level right now. It's something that we do in software factories very quickly and easily. We know those things very well. But when doing with vibe coding, it is tricky. AIs are not that ready. You have applications built for that. For example, Replit is based in a virtual machine that you can just use your app there and distribute it there. Vizio that integrates with Vercel. You have Firebase Studio, Google new AI release that puts everything inside like a Docker, like a cloud environment for you. But still, it's kind of tricky to get it correct. Maybe I'm going to cover that in a few months from now. I don't know how quickly we're going to get there. First and second step, okay. Third step, it's going to take a little while, but it's good, man, that you bring this problem already in the first lesson, because we now have a horizon that we can base ourselves in. Okay, Tony, want to ask something?
Yeah, thank you, Mateus. I wanted to ask you if it makes sense to create some type of vibe coding flow from ideation to proof of concept, and maybe it could be like a multi-day thing where it's like, all right, right now you figure out your idea with ChatGPT. Then you ask ChatGPT for a wireframe, you take it to V0 or something. Like this
what you do first, what you do second, and all, right? So the first 30 minutes of today's session was kind of like that. You just go and go horse. You just drop whatever you want, and the AI figures out the rest, right? So this was the initial assumption, the initial expectation that we have from AI. But we're going to discover that no, that's not true. And then I'm going to show a tool called Cursor, where you can set up your environment with some rules of what is going to be the architecture. And then we are going to do a product required document, ERD, and then we're going to do documentation. So this process exists, but probably it's going to be lesson 3, 4, 5, or something like that.
That's
For now,
amazing.
I'm just vibe education, so we might get there eventually. I don't want you to overwhelm the content in the first lesson too, but you know that there is a process for us to follow, right?
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully PRDs don't kill people's vibe, but you definitely need it if you want to create something real, right?
Yeah. This is why I'm kind of avoiding the first day too, because I acknowledge that most of the non-technical founders thinks differently as I am. I'm more in the technical spectrum. So I love doing PRDs. They help me. So if I love this, probably everyone else in the other spectrum would hate it. Defining well your product and how you just want to vibe and you just want to understand the pain of your end user, try something quickly, right? So I'm going to try and get out of my zone of comfort and explain things as a newcomer, as a vibe coder, non-technical coder, eventually going there to the chilling those bones, to the actual technical content of creating documentations, cursor rules, and all of that.
Sure. At least now you have AI, right? To help with the
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I expect your feedbacks from all of you, okay, people. If it was too technical, too shallow, too many bad jokes which I can't avoid, or too confused, you wanted some structure and all. This session is different from all of my other lessons. I see some past students here. So usually I have a structure for every lesson with bullet points and all. Today I'm just doing it as the flow goes, just for the sake of the fun here, of this vibe fun. I would love your feedbacks, suggestion of how this is going. Okay. But let's get going. We have about half an hour for doing this. I would just suggest you to download this tool, Cursor, which is a free tool. You can pay a subscription for them to have access to better model now, but you can also use your own models there. You can use your OpenAI API keys, Cloud, Cursor, Anthropic, whatever. Cursor, no, of course. Sorry. Anthropic, you can use Gemini, your own keys there if you want, and you don't need to pay them. They kind of fork at VS Code. So all of the extensions, all of the normal flow of that VS Code application still works here, okay? And this is an application built for devs. One of the main adoption nowadays for these tools are still helping devs to ship faster, and also I'm going to use that for explaining the structure of vibe coding. And in less than half an hour, we might have a product, okay? And Manuel, I might even try to ship that product and deploy that product. Let's see how that would go. Okay, so you would download for your version of your operational system there, Mac, Windows, Linux, whatever you're using, and they have it already installed in my computer. We open Cursor here, and I guess I'm sharing my browser, right? Let me see if I can share my whole screen. Let me fix my screen sharing. Just 1 second. And I hope it doesn't mess up again. Let me see. Okay, let me share. Which screen is that? One. No, screen 2. No, screen 3. Okay. It's loading. Let me know if you guys see my screen. Okay, good. So the first time that you install Cursor, you might see something similar to that. You might have a first time onboarding too. And in future lessons, I'm going to speak a lot of those settings. I just wanted to show that you have those settings because some people complain about Cursor because it's paid, it's expensive, blah, 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 blah. But actually, no, you can come here for settings and put your models here, your keys here, OpenAI key, Anthropic key, and all. So by no means this is like a paid version Cursor that you must use. No, it is still a VS Code fork. It is a tool that you can install and put your keys here, and you can use it for free. Okay, it is more like an interface UI helper. Okay, you could be using another model here in the background. It's a UI helper for guiding something called context management and function calling that we're going to see future lessons, guide you on how to better prompt the AI. Okay? So it is a funnel. It is a helper, a tool that is going to help you trigger the AI. So they don't have a proprietary model. They don't have. It's not like you are locked with them. You see, it's not like a vendor lock-in. You need to use them. They are just a channel. They're much more a UI helper for you to code with them than actually a solution for coding with AI. You know, but it's very famous. They raised an insane amount of money already, get a lot of traction. Interesting how they are doing that faster than Microsoft. Microsoft is catching up, okay, but it is what it is. So we can create a new project. I can start here, open a project, a new folder, like a new file, a new Windows, or open a folder, okay? This doesn't require any technical expertise. It is still similar of how you would use Microsoft Word or any other application or any application on Mac. You can create a new folder for your project. For example, I can go for my desktop. I guess it's a little small, but imagine here is my desktop. I can create a new folder, like my vibes project, or whatever name that you want to give, and select that folder. This is going to be my project. Okay. So yes, Cursor is a technical tool. It is made for developers, but up to this point, up to starting the project, it doesn't require any extra knowledge than using Microsoft Excel, Word, or any desktop application on your computer. You install Cursor, you create a new folder, you're ready to chat here in this right pane. The focus for Cursor is going to be the code in the middle, because Cursor is expecting you to change the code, for tweaking the code and keeping track of the changes. Okay. So some of you might be like this. Oh, we want to avoid that, right? We're just vibing. I don't need to code, right? It promised me that I don't need to touch code, right? Right? Like that meme. And this is the part that I would say actually no. The most effective flow that we have right now is keeping track of the changes of the code step by step. And you should know what the AI is doing. And for that, you need to know how to code. Yes. There are some workarounds for this. AI can help you on how to learn, how to code. I have a whole academy just for that I can point you in your direction later. AI can teach you about different frameworks, about different techniques, can show examples. And now you need to take care of hallucinations, because when the AI hallucinates, you don't know if the AI is correct or not. After all, you don't know the thing yet. But ideally, the correct flow is that you know how to develop things and use AI to help you, and then you peer review everything that the AI do. Yes, this is the current optimal flow for you to deploy something. But if you don't know how to code, if you don't know how to write code, how to evaluate what the AI is doing and all, doing it step by step and doing the suggestions that I'm going to say today is going to increase your chances by 90% or so. Or it's at least going to reduce your frustrations, okay? So watch this video to the end. The suggestion number 4 is going to drive you crazy, right? Engagement bait, right? No, just kidding. I'm going to cut straight to it. You know that I don't do that. I might do bad jokes, but I will never stall. First thing, remember I told about structure? Start with the structure. The more structure you give for your project, the better is going to be the suggestions of the AI, okay? You might not know how to code, so I'm going to use another example. You might know how to read, right? Just kidding, like reading books, or you might love writing or authors and all. I'm going to do a 5 minutes vibe coding session on writing a book. just for us to use as a comparison, as an example of how we would write a software. I did that in the past. This metaphor works very well. So how to use Cursor for that? I'm going to guide you in the interface. I have a question for Miro. You want to ask something, Miro?
Yes, but like later on, I don't want to interrupt the class here. It's about the APIs. I would ask later. Sorry.
The settings that I showed.
No, the API, right? The API, the menu that you went before to the APIs.
Yes, if I recall, you were speaking about this thing, right?
Yes.
Models here. Yeah, the settings, yes.
Yeah.
I mentioned this because I'm going to cover that in future lessons, just explaining that Cursor is not a paid tool, as a lot of people say out there. Cursor is enable for you to call those APIs, but they also have their own service to compete with those, you know.
But to be able to add in an API, you have to have a paid subscription, right?
I don't think so.
Do you have free or paid right now?
Here I have paid, but I guess you can use those API keys if you don't want to have a paid plan, right?
Yeah, I think I tried it on the free, did not work unless I'm doing something wrong. We can check it later.
Yeah, please do, because I've been telling that to people. Yeah, you don't need subscription for API usage, I guess. Yeah, because if they require subscription for API keys, the whole point that I'm saying it's false. Thanks a lot for checking.
Tried it and it didn't work. It said it wanted actually a subscription, but I'll try it again.
Yeah, maybe you need to pay for those API keys, right? And you also don't get all the features. That is true. They are not going to manage the context so well. But let's cut to the chase here.
Yes.
5 minutes for understanding the flow. I'm going to use the example of writing a book first. I'm not going to explain about context, AI context today. I'm not going to explain about function calling, agent flows and all. I'm just going to show as a user point of view what you get out of AI using this technique and what you get of AI using other techniques, okay? So the interface here is very simple. In the left pane, you're going to have all of your files, similar to a text editor or anything. I'm explaining in very simple terms because I want to empower non-technical people to come here and ship something, okay? I was trying to frame it in something like that. Make your grandma be a startup founder, something like that. Your uncle, someone non-technical. So I'm going to explain things that are very basic, okay? I know that this is not 100% the public, but this is the intention. Anyone, literally anyone, a teenager could come here, download that, get to know the interface and use that even without proper training. So in the left pane, you're going to see all of the files that you can create. You can create folders. You are going to have all of this control. In the middle, you're going to see the files that you are editing. And in the right pane, you are going to have the chat with the AI, okay? And the default version, the default behavior of this modern version is to have an agent here that can do things for you. Beware that you have all the options. I'm going to demonstrate the agent flow. Okay. And here we can just ask things like we did in V0. So to avoid the complexities of software development, I'm going to do an example of writing a book. So straight like that. Write a book about a master pinball player winning his first tournament. I guess it made a typo here. Winning his whatever. AIs can take typos and whatever. So this agent is going to create files for me. Is going to open files in my computer, and it's going to fill those files with content. So this is the generation that happened, okay? Now the AI is explaining about that. I created a short story titled "The Silver Ball: A Champion's Journey." That's nice. The Flipper, and studying the story of Martinez, a dedicated pinball player who wins the first major tournament, and the narration includes this and that and that, and created this in a markdown file. Would like me to make an adjustment, and also very helpful, right? I don't know which model it's auto selecting, is not thinking, but here we have. So now I have a control. I have a version control ability here that I can accept this file. Okay, and now I have it here in my computer. Now I have this book. But the way this file is, like 2 short paragraphs per chapter here, it's not a very good book, right? 41 lines. Who would buy a book that is like 41 lines of text? Maybe it's a kid's book. Don't know. This is what you have when you prompt the AI directly for the AI to write files for you. You're going to have a reflection of some noise of what the AI is thinking, what the AI have there, and it's going to spit something that is almost unusable. This book is not like unique material. It's not a product that people would buy. It's not aggregating value for anyone else. So when you build your app like this, just prompt it like this, without structure, without context, it is going to build a blend app for you that doesn't aggregate any value. It doesn't move the needle. How to properly solve that? Any techniques and flow, as Tony was asking, everything revolves around structure. Okay, so something very simple that I can do for creating that book would be adding some structure first that I'm going to add in the textual form. Okay, so I'm going to delete that file. Delete. I'm going to clean this file here. I could clean there in my computer. I'm going to close this chat tab, start a new chat. Everything new, okay? And I could create an instructions file, a new file like this. Instructions, or guidelines, or requirements. And it can be a .txt, single text file, that I can just write my requirements, my normal requirements, like this book should have at least 100 pages. I can ask things like, this book should feature New York and San Francisco in the story. I could put any requirements that I would want, normal prompting requires now, and even some sort of technical requirements. Okay, I don't know if anyone in the public here likes to read, like, but not only reading for the information, but the pleasure of reading. Right? Would you recommend some authors, some writing styles that you like? Maybe Tolkien from Lord of the Rings, or some other writers that you would recommend, so that would give some shape and form for this book, or maybe some booking guidelines. Tell me here in the chat, Irvine. So, for example, I can ask the agent, how would Irvine, I guess his name, write a book about a pinball player? And maybe the AI is going to search the web, and maybe it's going to use the learned information that the LLM has there from the training data set. So it's going to tell me something like that. He's known from distinctive writing style where we have raw, gritty realism, a Scottish dialect, dark humor, non-linear storytelling, So for example, I can ask the AI to write this requirement for me. So write requirement, write a list of requirements for my book to sound like Harvey Welsh. The AI can do this structure for you. Okay, we're going to see cursor rules later. The AI can generate those cursor rules, So this is structure for the book. It's going to say that it should include this, character development, blah, 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 a minimum of 300 pages, blah, 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 blah. This is my requirement.txt. Now that I have this file, I can ask the AI, following these requirements, write a book about a boy winning a pinball tournament. Now it's going to create, and even if it stops at some point, this generation might take a while, 300 pages after all. But even if it stops at some point, we can always check, does it fulfill all of the requirements? So we have 96 lines of code here. Pinball King. So now we have one chapter. The silver sphere rattles, blah, 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 blah. And now it is telling a story. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A lot of paragraphs. Okay, it created one chapter. It was very lazy. Okay, but then we can tweak some of these parameters. But you see how very visually, you don't need to be technical, how the quality changes from water to wine in one single requirement file. It's like a Pareto rule. With a very small investment here, we have a huge effect over the generation. Okay. So you are using requirement.txt as an extended prompt, yes, as more context and more information. We're going to go over that. Actually, Sergio, you did my bootcamp. You know very well when we speak about context, right? But for newcomers, this is just explaining more context for the AI. This word has another meaning for LLMs, but you can imagine as the normal meaning of the context word, okay? And then we can check something. Does this book check the requirements and evaluate if your job is done. Sometimes this kind of bossy approach can work well. So the AI is self-assessing itself. So it got some things that it didn't do, like technical requirements, minimum 300 pages. So only one chapter so far. So then you know what to do, right? And the AI might continue that, You can, even without so much oversight, you can have the AI self-fix the mistakes now that you have a requirement. Okay? Sometimes the AI is going to generate slop. It's going to generate bad things. Sometimes the AI is going to insist in that error. Okay, I generate something wrong, but I think that is correct. But most of the time, when you compare with a requirement that was human-made or partially human-made, or searching for the web or something like that, with the information that the AI generated, the probability of that being compliant is almost zero. It's very low. So it's going to trigger another step of refactor, and the probability that this next step converges, it's very high. The probability is like almost 90-something%. So you don't need to be 100% accurate. But so long it's more than 51% accurate, eventually you're going to converge to the center, you know. And you don't even need to be technical here. We're just writing a book, and it is very difficult to argue that the previous book was better. You can borrow this kind of content from other creators. You can search the web. You can now plug in any other kind of techniques and keep doing that. And you can just repeat the last prompt, like you finish it, and the AI can assess that. So this applies for book writing, but applies for generation code too. Okay, so doing product requirement documentations, doing structure, having a framework, architecture, and all of that from the beginning really can help, like we're seeing in this book. Okay, so very visual example for context management. It works for writing books. It also works for writing applications. Okay. Any question? Up to here, I see a lot of chat here. Law and order. RJ, you are on fire there. Having fun, it seems, right? Okay. Yes, Manuel.
Mateus, so on these requirements tip, would you say it's something that can continuously be updated as you evolve your project? Is it something that is worth like
Yes.
integrating all the time to keep an up-to-date context?
I see some people, those edge vibe coders, like they are in the edge of trying things out there, making scripts so that every time you finish generating something, the script would read like a change log of the change of the things that changed in that step, and then would update the requirements. There are some people integrate that with the Git flow, so you do a commit, and then the commit goes for the requirements, and they work together. Sometimes you're going to have architectural requirements, technical requirements. Sometimes they're going to be for specific folders, requirement for the front end, for the back end, they require for each component. So it was Tony asked, is there a structure for this? And right now, people, we are the first ones sailing out of the sea. No one tried to get out of rivers before. We are sailing. We had a first king or rich person to sponsor this trip, and we hope that that is in Americas out there and not like a big waterfall. And we don't know how to sail. We are discovering. Some people do like this, some people do like that, some people follow the sirens, some people watch the stars, some of them die, some of them don't. So we are learning from these mistakes and discovering what is out there in those uncharted waters. So I guess this is the current state of things. I'm sorry for not giving too much of a solid direction, but I can bring you the information, the things I'm learning from things that I'm observing of things doing and people doing, and the things that I'm trying in my factory too. So I can give some directions in that extent. Okay. Discovering new land. Hey Johnny, like your suggestion. Whomever raises first need to donate at least 10% for the other projects. Nice. So we bring everyone up, right? And the last one to raise has to give more. So you give an incentive. That's good. That's good. Anyone else? Okay. Now in the last 10 minutes, I'm going to prepare you for next lessons. How you should build your projects, knowing that you should have this structure. 100% clear, people. Start with the template. Oh, but I'm not technical. I don't know how to evaluate a template. Pick suggestions. Pick the first result on Google. Do not try and have an AI to suggest the structure of a project. Let me demonstrate what happens. For example, delete those. Then let me just ask something very high level. How would you build a web app for a pinball game? You just ask that. And then it's suggesting to build that with vanilla HTML with CSS and JavaScript. Bare bones, no framework and all. Not saying that this is a bad idea. A lot of people develop websites like that nowadays, and it works, yes, but it's very limited. Okay. If you are non-technical, you don't know what I'm speaking about. But here, people, it's like building a house without using any kind of machinery, no cranes or no trucks, nothing else, just all hands and maybe some small tools like hammers or whatever. It can work, yes. And most of the early civilizations built houses like that. Yes, it's true. The early civilizations of web was all built like that, with PHP, JavaScript, jQuery, and all. That's true. But we are in 2025. We have frameworks for a couple of decades already. So we don't need to do that. Stop, reject all. You are crazy, out of your mind. Okay. Maybe the AI is helping us to create more jobs. That could be. The AI there is holding back just to keep us employed, maybe, not to crack a whole industry, maybe. But this suggestion is not a good suggestion. Okay, if you close your chat tab, you can just open with Control Shift L. Opens here. So if we are not going to prompt the AI directly, what we are going to do, we're going to start with templates. For example, Vercel, this company that I just mentioned a while ago, they have Visio and all. They have a template, Vercel template. They have a template page full of suggestions of starting projects, starting boilerplate, cookie cutters projects that you can just fork for doing something that you want. Okay. So that they're going to suggest structures. Manuel, great question. What are those frameworks used for? So, for example, imagine like building a window, a wood-framed window. If you try to build it yourself with hammer and nail, the probability that you don't have a square angle is quite high. It might be a little skewed and all. And then when you measure, this is a little skewed, it can make a gap. And then when it rains, the water comes in your house and create the whole sort of problems because of a little imperfection. So frameworks, sometimes they are very limiting, yes, but sometimes they are great because they frame your stuff. They put in some conformities and can use them or not as you need, but they are going to put some part of your projects in conformity, in shape, in structure, so that you can build more efficiently. You have things working out of the box. You inherit those building blocks, see, and then you build on top. This is the idea of those templates that we have here. And whatever you pick, a good template that is closer to what you want to build. It's not like this, I'm going to build a car using a motorcycle. That's not a good idea. For me to build a car, I need to pick a car starter. And if you don't have a starter for a car, it might be looking for something similar, might be not 100% covered. So, for example, if I want to do a game, don't know, maybe game is not going to be that well covered, but let's say a blog, social media, something like that, like we're trying. And we have a platform starter kit here, which comes pre-configured with some services, with some backend structure. I can even view the demo for that first. So this is the demo demonstration of that project. This is how it should feel. I can just clone and deploy. So it's going to have those stories here now. So if you want to create a project based on this project, you can just clone this repository, clone and deploy inside Vercel, clone and start your boilerplate from here, and then you import it on the cursor for you to start coding on top of that. because then the AI is not going to hallucinate on that starting point anymore. It's not going to suggest you to use PHP, JavaScript, or whatever. It's going to follow the flow. It's going to use the files that we have there as a context. Okay, so it's going to be much easier to maintain, much easier to deploy later, like the probability of the AI suggesting a vulnerability, an integration error, a database, a bad connection to database, it's it's much less probable, because you have all of the initial structure there. And there are a lot of templates here in this website that you can quickly deploy, and there are a lot of other websites with other templates. For example, the Next.js starter kit. So framework, Next.js, there is a starter kit. There is an AI starter kit for it too. For example, if you want to build an AI application with AI, there is this Next.js AI chatbot that you can just clone, even increase the zoom. You can just clone in your machine. There is a GitHub repository for that. Run it there, and you can start prompting the AI directly with this application, with authentication, with data persistence, with styling, with the SDKs for communicating with AI, all of that, bake it in. Okay. Are there risks for those templates to create potential gateways for exploit? Well, they are therefore preventing that. So for example, when you go for this Next.js AI chatbot, you have authentication well built with Supabase or something like that. No, actually they migrated for Neon serverless Postgres without JS. So you have all of this connection well done, well engineered for you, that you can just use it as it is. Let me sign up here. Mateus@ventureminer.com, and whatever password that I'm going to put here. Now I have my username. Now we're safe. Choose my own signing. Never. And here I have invalid credentials. That's bad. I guess I did something wrong. I just signed it up. Maybe I did a typo. Yes, whatever. But answering your question, Manuel, they are going to create a safe implementation here. The engineers have worked on that and gave that for you for free. They could be paying like $2,000 for having access to this template, and it's there architected for you, just for you to clone, because they are advertising some of their tools, and it works. If you come here for the homepage, you're going to interact with it, and it works. What are the advantages of using Next.js? I can ask it for the AI, and the AI is going to answer that for me. Okay. So this is what you get out of the box by using some of those templates. Okay. Okay. So I guess we could start from here on the next session, creating a real project, or even revisiting some of those techniques that we mentioned, and trying to cover one big topic per session or something like that. Okay. Another question, Manuel?
Yes, man. Sorry, I've been asking too much, but
No worries. Your questions are great. It means that content is making impact there.
For sure. So my last question on this is, when you start using these templates, do you set them up as context or as actual files that you will use and edit within your code base, let's call it?
Both. Okay. It's like a painting that you're trying to paint, and half of it is already painted. So it's going to become context for the next things. And you also would change some of the things that you did before while doing the next things, and the AI is going to get that flow way better than suggesting from scratch.
Okay. So is it wise to, for example, you have an existing app that is buggy. If you bring in these templates and ask the agents to learn from that template and apply it to your app, is that something that can be useful?
It can get messy way quicker than doing the opposite. You pick a template and then you build those things on top of your template. Also, if you pick the wrong template, it can be your bigger enemy. It can slow you much more than it adds value. So this is tricky, and we're going to get the flow. Okay, but if you pick a good template, if you have your idea well explained, if you have a vision for it, if you put that on V0 on Cursor like we did today, or even on ChatGPT, you have more than enough for submitting a project here. And then you can update it more. Now, there are literally no excuses anymore. Maybe you didn't watch the whole 2-hour video, but if you watch it here, there is nothing stopping you from using those tools and techniques for submitting your project here. Even if it's a landing page created by Vercel, this is more than enough. You prove at your point. I'm going to support you, and I'm going to help you to raise a few $millions if I can, or at least a few hundred, maybe a few thousands. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Tony, questions here.
Where can we find a recording of this?
I'm going to speak about that now. Just finishing with the questions, and I'm going to do all of the explanation, okay? If we don't have any questions, I'll answer that right now. Okay. Yeah. Well, people, that was it. Oh, yeah, Vito?
Question. So
Yes.
where do you find the value of vibe coding other than an MVP? Like, I saw the Twitter post that, the guys started the SaaS and then was not complete, and you get attacked and all that stuff. So, like, from your professional opinion, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, I'm going to bring some people to speak about their experiences to inspire you of what vibe coding is doing. For example, RJ, you have some experience of apps that you have deployed that use it, vibe coding, Replit, and Alpha building it, right? You want to open your mic, share your insights with us? Maybe you are busy there, man. Yeah, I see you typing there. RJ might be busy. Maybe he's keeping the secret for the next sessions. Hey, bro. Yeah, I guess you.
Distress relief and connection.
Yeah, I see you typing there. Good.
Okay. And I have another question.
I'm
here.
going to invite RJ for speaking in future sessions, but he has built solid applications with Replit deployed, but that's for public use. So yes, while most of the use cases are still for prototyping, we have people that have crossed that chasm and deployed things to production, being used for other people, and it's working. I'm going to bring those cases.
I have another.
Yeah, I see you there, bro. Yes, Miro. Another follow-up question?
Yes.
Hi there.
We're talking about Replit and other credits that we can.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have any plan to obtain like some credits or some discounted rates? Because if we're gonna use it anyways, you're gonna pay for it. But if we have this like discounted couple of months or whatever ways that we can get a discounted rate for startup or for self-employed or hacker, whatever it is.
Yeah. One of the reasons that I'm trying to bring those specialists here is for this, for bring opportunities for all of you, like free credits, discounted API plan, paid plans, or any kind of things. Okay. My next guest is going to be Sama from this company called OpenAI. He's going to give a ChatGPT Pro for everyone for 3 years. Okay. Just kidding. It's not going to happen. but maybe someone else I'm going to bring for next sessions. And it's going to be all Tuesdays, okay, Vibe Tuesdays. Mark in your calendar. I'm running out of time here, so first call to action: apply your project in Artisan. You have more than enough now. I'm going to share more information with you all. I just saw that I closed those other tabs, but I'm going to share information with all of you about the membership that we are building. Let me try and find those tabs again. The membership that we are building. I'm trying to connect more sponsorship for the fund to help you more. So working for you here to get more sponsorship. So I was asking for a small donation, a suggestion of $50, but it can be up to $1 for you to get your recording. Okay. But all of you that are part of my community, like you helped a lot already, I can give this recording to, because I'm trying to build this membership called Vibe Code University, where we're going to have all of this content for $50 a month. So if you are here with us building all of that, I'm going to support all of you. You can participate in all of those calls. And for you to have access for the recording, you would either do some donation here or reach me out on Telegram, email, and now we can, of course, we can talk this out. It's not a hard requirement. But again, the whole purpose of all of this is supporting your projects. So having sponsors, having donations here is going to be super, super helpful for help me to help you, right? For helping you for building the startups out of this Vibe movement, okay? Good. This is it. Thank you, everyone. Miro, you have a last question?
Yes, last question. Did you see any project that implemented blockchain or smart contracts through vibe coding? I'm really curious about that part.
Yeah, I see some. I see some of them. Some of them are very well done, like AI auditors, but still, it is dangerous. You know that, right?
Yes,
North
it is.
Korean
That's
hackers
why,
will love that.
It's like you're walking on the edge there because, wallets, smart contracts, all that. It's, with vibe coding, I don't know. That was my first impression.
Yeah. But I'll try to do a session of that, of Vibe Code and smart contracts. Let's see how that go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thanks, Vibo. I hope to see you all next Tuesday. Okay. I hope to have you all as members in this Vibe Code University. I want to fund you all to Artisan, to this first fund of many. I hope that you enjoy this content. I'm eager to hear your feedbacks. Reach me out directly or put a feedback there in Luma or whatever means that you find more helpful. And we want to build a movement here. Okay. We all want to hear those success stories and how it all started with a Vibe Coding 101 session by night and how it became a $1 billion company in 6 months, 3 months, 3 weeks, whatever. Okay. That's good. Thank you, everyone. It was an amazing pleasure. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.